Awesome. I think we are live.
Cool.
Perfect. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, good morning, from wherever you guys are signing in. Welcome back again. This is Shantanu, and I have Renat with me today. So this is going to be super amazing conversations. We are not doing our regular product webinars. We are doing a more conversational one with a super interesting topic, which is AI in engineer's perspective on AI first engineering. So Renat is a senior engineer with us. I'll hand him over the stage shortly to give a brief intro about what he does and everything about him. But yeah, before we jump into the whole conversation, uh, I have a bunch of things to talk about, and I think we also have Leon here. So I'll invite him to the stage. Hi, Leon.
Hey guys.
Hey, so
Awesome. So, yeah, before we jump in, I would like to do a quick roundup of what we did last week, what we launched last week. So, last week was super amazing. We launched Sonnet 4.5, which is a super amazing model. A lot of people are loving it. And moving next, speaking about the AI first engineering, Rinat, the stage is all yours. Would love to know more about what you do at Zencoder and a bit more about yourself before we dive into the plethora of questions that we have today.
yes, sure, guys. So things like thanks for asking me to join. That's super good to be here with you. So yes, I'm Rinat. I joined Zencoder more than a year ago, I guess, and mostly I was dedicated to developing JetBrains plugin. So basically, I was leading that team. So prepared all the processes, started from like zero 0.0.1 version of plugin and make it like full production, which is right now. And also like participating in like in different places, helping building the agents, helping building the CI pipelines. So as we are a startup, right, you cover a lot of different dimensions and what you need to do to help the product grows. Yeah.
Awesome. And I think Leon, people already know you, but do you want to give like a short intro?
Yeah, well, for those of you that know me, you know me. For those of you that don't, I'm a developer advocate at Zencoder. I might be running into you if you go to any of the conferences or events here stateside. If you're reading my blog posts, then fantastic. If you haven't, I'll shoot you a link. But Renat's actually the guy that makes it all happen. I just use it and love it and try to get you to give it a shot and see if you love it too. So yeah, really psyched to have Renat on here to actually show how the sausage is made and get an AI first engineer's perspective.
Awesome. So let's kickstart this conversation. And with the first question, Renat, for you is what does exactly AI first mean from an engineer's perspective? I mean, you've been an engineer. So how do you take this keyword AI first? And what's your thought on top of it?
So that's a good question. Yeah, and so how I talk it to myself, the AI first, it's mean like treating AI as a foundational level layer of your whole development process, right? So it's not just a productivity add-on, right? It's more about like designing systems where AI capabilities inform your architecture decision from day one. And I'm thinking about it like you're not uh, you're not like trying to fit AI into existing workflows, but you are trying and building workflows and processes around what AI enables. So for engineers like me, that means like asking yourself, how could I organize everything so AI could help me not to only like bootstrap the project, because we all know that AI is pretty good to bootstrapping something, but also maintaining that for the long term.
Makes sense. I mean, we have heard a lot about AI assisted coding that started off in like a couple of years back. So how does this particularly differ from, AI first engineering that's trending
Mhm.
right now?
Yeah. Yeah, assistant coding for me, it's like kind of copilots, which helping you autocomplete some function or explaining some, I don't know, regex that you wrote 6 months ago and completely forgot. What does it mean, right? Or asking to fix some annoying bug. And that's super valuable, of course. I mean, we hadn't had that option like even like what probably 2 years ago, right? But it is valuable, but it's kind of tactical. And uh, the AI first is more like strategic, right? So it's like about rethinking how you are building entirely. That require a lot of like shifting in the thinking process of the like the day-to-day engineering thinking process. I think we'll gonna deep dive a little bit into that as well. So that's about like how to manage code, like feature modules and the whole system with the understanding that most of the code will be written with AI for it. Does that make sense?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I think thank you so much for that answer. Following up on the same one, I have an adjacent one for you. As you have been working with Zencoder for quite some time, and you've been an engineer maybe a decade, if I'm not going wrong. Uh, so, where are you seeing the AI adding the most value in your development workflows? I mean, as you mentioned, you take care of CI/CDs, you take care of workflows, and a lot more things that come into the picture. So yeah, where's that particular segmentation that you see where AI adds value in your whole development life cycle?
Yeah. So I think first for me, like the kind of boilerplate elimination. Like I stopped creating the bash scripts, for example, for myself, right? And it's also like pretty good helps with the CI/CD pipelines, like some sort of like YAML file to manage GitHub actions, etc., etc. Yeah, it's pretty capable to do so. Um, what else? Like some sort of like data transformation, right? If you need to create some piece of code that moves one model, like transform one data model to another data model, is also like pretty good task for AI. What is also like pretty important for me, that's the educational part of that, or let's talk it like knowledge retrieval. As I mentioned, like I was involved in the development of the JetBrains plugin, and that's kind of very hard area, especially if you are not the super experienced development of exactly plugin. So it's like the whole infrastructure provided by JetBrains, and there is a super huge open source repository for the IntelliJ IDEA, and there is like not super good documentation provided. I mean, there is a documentation, but the project is so big, so you spend like a lot of time to understand like how to build the new feature. And for that aspect, the AI was helping me so much. I spent like hours talking with this repository. I mean, with opening the encoder, opening the repository, and just asking the question how to organize that and those. I think what else? And the last time I just what is on top of my mind. So as we have a not only JetBrains plugin but also the VS Code extension, and we have the same features here and there, and sometimes the development process go a little bit faster for VS Code and for sometimes for JetBrains and vice versa. And it's a pretty good option to take the code written for VS Code, which is in TypeScript, and just completely rewrite it for Kotlin, which is used in JetBrains, right? And that AI is also like pretty good to accomplish.
Interesting. I mean, you mentioned a bunch of tasks, and we being DevRels, mostly the customer facing side. So when we usually do demos, I mean, Leon can add on to it. We go with a bunch of steps, and Leon loves trackers. So we track things out on what we do and stuff like that. So I mean, we usually use AI to do most of our tasks with, I mean, specifically Zencoder, from building out workflows, from building out sample applications, and even custom agents that Leon builds out. So, what's that one task for you that you never want to do without AI again?
So he's talking one task. I would say I would never write the regex expressions by myself because like it was
Yep.
a super hard to like understand what does it mean, all of these symbols. And when you just, I mean,
Mhm.
could ask the UI to build it, that's super good for me. I mean, it's very small, of course, it's very small, but
Yep.
it's like super helpful for me.
100%. And Leon, for you, what's that one task, that you feel that you cannot do without AI again?
Software engineering or in general?
In general, let's talk in general for now.
Okay. Well, in general, you may not actually know this, but I love using AI to summarize the day's like organizational progress in Jira, right?
Hmm.
So we have obviously a lot of tickets either being created or changing states in Jira all the time. We have a lot of features. It can be tricky to keep tabs on everything that's happening. So I just hooked up Jira to some AI, and I ask, at the beginning or start of each day, voice mode, give me a rundown. What's changed? And it does a pretty robust job of summarizing. I mean, it feels like your own, executive assistant for where it matters most, which I really love. But since this is an engineering podcast, I'm only like 10% ashamed to say it. Unit tests, right?
Hmm.
And particularly writing tests before writing code, right? Because I'm sure I'm not the only one here that just wants to lay down some code and see something work from the get go. And so when you have this sort of layer that will not only, like, instead of making tests like a lagging sort of response to what you've written to define what you're going to do across those tests, um, more than just the busy work of it, it just keeps me in check as a good developer so that I don't go do something crazy, which don't get me wrong, there's still plenty of room to go and do something crazy. But when it's time to develop something according to a spec, then having the test beforehand helps to guide the process going forward.
Interesting. That's
Yeah,
that's a
yeah,
beautiful take.
absolutely. So I think I
Yep.
could add some notes here. That's you mentioned like test-driven development, and I really found it like super helpful actually when you're using the AI to write the code. You definitely have to have some sort of like guardrails, right? To make sure that all the code produces and it's pass all the tests and then it's go to production. So yeah, plus one to this unit test stuff.
Well, that actually kind of brings it to Viber's question here in the chat, right? Of mental shift for you as an engineer. So I think that kind of touches on that to start with, right? But I can definitely think of like at least one way outside of unit tests and TDD that working with Zencoder on a daily basis has changed, just how I think about code. But I'll leave it to you because you do a lot more of the day-to-day coding than I do.
Yeah, so that's a definitely that's definitely a shift of the like developer's mentality, right? So if beforehand I I mean I'm not shaming to say that I didn't spend a lot of time to writing some specs, right? Before the EI era because it's kind of very difficult to write down something first and then like got all of that comments and then spend a lot of time iterating and all of them start writing some code. But now with the help of AI, I literally spent a lot more time writing down some spec and iterating through this specs, asking the Zencoder to like improve the actual like definition of the how the software or this small piece of software should look like. And then it's like the actual coding is like became super simple, right? All I need is just to manually by myself review the code, like satisfying all of the spec that was created because I already reviewed the specification, right? And I make sure it is already like what I desire to implement. And that's really shifting us a little bit to the couple of steps behind the actual writing the code, right?
100%. Talking about Jira, talking about product management, I have a quick question on that front. So, we have been using AI as just, Leon mentioned that he uses AI to summarize all the tickets in Jira. So, how does AI affect your collaboration with engineers, PMs, and designers? It's a question for both of you, by the way.
Okay, so do you want to start?
Please, you're the engineer. Yeah.
Yeah, I found it's so. Let me answer a little bit different question. Okay, so not about the collaboration, but about like what is bring to the all team members, not only for engineers. And I will start from the designers, I guess. So that's a pretty good example that our designer, Dmitry, you know him, right? Um, he is like constantly produces the PR with the design changes directly to the front end code. So before it like would take a days or weeks from the idea to change some components to the actual release to production, right? But now it takes hours. And as a developer, I could much easier to break down some user story, that the complex user story that product managers bring to us, right? And it helped me to produce even like more questions before I start implementing something, and which is like help to highly improve the understanding of the business layer, right? Or the what exactly we're gonna build. But for the PMs, of course, it's bring the huge opportunity to understand the code better. I mean, not only code, it might not be super necessary, but understanding how all the different components of the system work together, right? To properly understand the risks of changing something here and there, or understanding the time for implementation something, right? Or even the using AI and sketch some small features just to see how it looks like, and provide the engineer to get a better understanding what's going to be done, right? So sorry, answering not exactly the question. It was kind of different.
They're completely fine. I just wanted your perspective on a broader topic, but yeah, thank you so much for that. Leon, what do you think?
Oh, well, for me, it just helps me keep up with Renat's team because, frankly, a lot of the time, as a developer advocate, I talk to users. And so when I'm talking to users, we get feature requests, technical reports. And so it just helps to basically keep up in the conversation, where if Renat's team or some engineering team is talking about a particular service or pipeline or module, then I can just jump in as encoder and be like, okay, so just break down this module or this service for me real quick so that I can actually, hold my own in this conversation.
Interesting. So now talking about challenges and risks, everything comes with challenges and risks. And specifically with AI driven development, AI first development, uh, Rina, this is for you, by the way. From an engineer's perspective, what are the biggest challenges that you face or you feel that you might face with the AI driven engineering or AI first engineering?
So I think that challenge, the biggest challenge that I see behind me is that it's not that technical challenge, but more about like changing the way, as Weber asked, and we already talked about like the complete shifting of the mentality, and that's really really painful process, right? The one day that you understand that all the time you spend learning through how this particular framework works, or that caveats of the some Python implementation, and that looks like it's not really necessary anymore. It is still still need to be need to have good to have the super experienced engineers, but we all see right now that that's a shifting to the difference layer, right? And for example, if I ask UI to fix some code, I always spend some time to do like the final mile, right? To fix some small stuff here and there. And now I'm trying to stop myself and ask like, what should I do better that I won't do this last mile by myself, right? And that's kind of difficult for engineers, because I know that the fixing some couple of things is like could be much faster, but I prefer right now to invest some time to understand how to talk with AI better. Probably use like different tools, or add some different way of prompting to eliminate all this problem. And that's kind of
Interesting.
really difficult and interesting.
Yeah, I mean, as an engineer as well, I've seen a lot of, I mean, with 4.5 coming in, I've seen this getting decreased a bit. But before, you're absolutely right. And AI getting hallucinated a lot uh, is something that have been a lot of being a major challenge for an AI engineer. So how do you see that, being countered down the line? And what's your thought on that?
Yeah, for sure. The AI is still hallucinating, right? And you cannot rely 100% of that. But as Leon mentioned before, there is a different approach to mitigate that risk, right? For example, when you create a spec,
Yep.
if we talk in the spec-driven development, and I see like the whole AI industry, AI coding industry moving towards this spec-driven development, right? And that's when you have a spec, you create a lot of different testing layers, and after that, only after that you start generating some code and ask AI, or using some tooling. By the way, like Zencoder automatically could run the unit tests, and not only unit tests, but any type of the test you have right after generate some code to make sure, and feed the agent back to make sure like every generated code works as expected, right? And so that I guess one. Well, and of course, we should still have like kind of human in the loop for some decisions, because I've seen that not only once. I've seen when agent generating some code and it couldn't fix it because one of the tests are failing. It's trying to do super different tricks. Once it like just deleted the test. Another time it's made it ignored. Another time it could like change the test code. And once it even like say like okay, the test passing rate is like 99%, which is good. we can proceed with that, which is like completely awful actually. So for that purpose, at Zencoder we have a pretty good option to have a custom agent. So and for the custom agents, we have I just have different agents, right? The one for creating spec, one for creating tests, and another one to build the code actually. And they have a slightly different instructions. And for this agent who is responsible to writing the code, it's like the very important instructions that never ever modify the unit tests or any tests in that field. So that kind of help. That's kind of guardrails that we are building to mitigate that type of risks.
Interesting. That's a beautiful take on that. That almost brings me to the end of the whole conversation, but I have a bunch of perspective questions, and this is open for both of you. So, if you were to advise a junior engineer, what skills should they focus on to thrive in this AI first world?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. So, I would say what I've seen, the actual so the actual computer science is still very valuable. So understanding how the system works in general brings even more value to AI first engineering than understanding how particular frameworks operate, right? So I would say like system design and architecture, AI written code, but it like won't architect the whole system, at least for now. Next, what I'd say is definitely area to start understanding how to work with is prompt engineering, right? The understanding how to operate with the AI. So it's like very different if you ask, hey, AI generate me some web server, or you provide the very detailed spec, what the web server should be, which technology to use, and probably technology is not that important, but how it should operate, that it should have a lot of like testing here and there, etc., etc. Like also should have like proper logging, some observability stuff, scalability. So all of that aspects, it's really necessary to understand. And of course, I would say the domain expertise, it's super valuable. So if you're building some software for bank, right, the understanding of how business operates in that area, it's super important. Even more important right now than before. So my recommendation is like stick with the general computer science, trying to understand how the whole system works. Try to go deeper to that domain knowledge that you like to, and everything should be great. So this AI era doesn't mean that there won't be the place for new engineers. I guess it's even it's even more growing opportunity for everyone who wants to become engineer.
Interesting. That's a beautiful take. And Leon, what do you think about this?
Oh, well, for me, I'm barely a non-junior engineer myself. I mean, I have 5 or 6 years engineering experience, so I had a few years before and then a few years after, AI really took off in this sphere. I would say you're going to feel like an imposter anyway, so you might as well be an imposter across a much bigger surface area. And what I mean by that is you don't know how a code base works, clone it, run our repo info agent or any agent outside of that on it, and find out, right? If you're joining a company for the first time and they have 100 distributed, repos, then run our multi-repo tool and find out how everything fits together. If you want to add a new feature, query the agent and ask, where does this go so I can add it? Because you might not be an expert in anything, let alone everything, but you now have a tool that lets you pursue your curiosity in a way that you probably didn't have the time or experience to before. So leverage it to try new things and understand new things, because I think that's the most value that I get out of it. I don't just use Zencoder, but I use Zencoder to understand how Zencoder was built. There's no reason you can't do the same wherever you are.
100%. I think there's a plethora of information available on the internet. Anybody who's a junior dev or just getting started, I think, craving your own path. I mean, with AI assisted learning, a lot of things can be achieved. Even for me, I was just, I was deep diving into DevOps, very new, interesting field for me. I just wanted to learn more about it. I did an AI assisted learning, and now I can actually write my own YAML files. I can write my own HCL files. So, I mean, it helped a lot. So I am a junior dev in case of a DevOps perspective. But yeah, I think this is one of the ways that people can accelerate their learning journeys using AI. That actually brings me to the end of the whole conversation. And once again, thank you so much, Rinat, for joining in today. I totally loved the whole conversation. Thanks, Leon, for jumping in, answering those BitQuery questions. And before we close down for the day, any final notes, Rinat, that you want to share with the audience?
So first thing, thanks, Vincent. Thanks, Leon. It was pretty good to talk. It's absolutely different that I work in day-to-day basis, right? I mean, I still talk a lot in my work, but it's kind of different. Yeah. So the final note, I would say, like, don't afraid, don't afraid of changes. I did as every developer, I guess. I was a little bit afraid, but when you start digging more and more, you will see that the new opportunity that's opening for you. So right now, you could build whatever software you need. For example, yesterday I found out that it's too much weight on my scales, and I just decided to create the iOS application to help me to track colors, to be a little bit, and to make this t-shirt fit my body. So so basically, the engineering world is changing, but I try to be optimistic, and I suggest everyone to be the same, to use the same optimistic approach, and just to take these new options, deep dive, understand how the system works, how to talk with AI, how to increase your productivity with AI, and everything's going to be even better and better.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that take, Renat. I think that brings me up to the end of the session. Once again, thank you so much, Renat, for joining in. Thanks, Leon. Thanks, everybody who has
Thanks.
attended it
Thank
today.
you, Shantanu.
Yeah, thanks for
And
organizing that.
100%. And I'm super excited for the next one. We have more podcasts with a couple of more folks from the Zencoder team and a few more guests coming along the way. So stay tuned. Stay tuned to Slack, Discord, emails, and you'll hear more about us very, very soon. Till then, take care. Have a good day, good night from wherever you're joining in, and see you again in the next one. Cheers.
Bye, everybody.
Hey, bye bye.